Hey everybody, it's Corey from Netta's Nursery in Posen, and today I'm continuing my introduction of new annuals for 2022. So let me start off real strong. Let's take a look at what I've got on the list here. Next up is our COLEUS line, and we have revamped the COLEUS like you wouldn't believe. So we're starting with a micro COLEUS called Spitfire. Really great color on this, kind of has this mop head kind of look to it. It stays relatively small, especially compared to some of the other COLEUSes, but the color on it's really fantastic. And most of these are sun or shade, which we're really excited about. And that's one of the reasons why we kind of revamped the Kong series, and the Kong Junior series has been a really good plant for us. And you know, when it came out, it was revolutionary, but now a lot of the new varieties do better in full sun. And so we wanted to bring more of those in. So that way, if you planted it in a shady spot or a sunny spot, you're still going to get that really good performance off of them. So that's what you're going to find with most of our new COLEUSes. In fact, we have a whole new line of COLEUSes. One of them is, or is it COLEI? I think it's COLEUS. We'll call it that. Anyway, called the Main Street series. And the Main Street series, we've carried the Wall Street, which was that beautiful coppery orange one. We absolutely loved it. It grew great. It gets very large. So we're introducing a total of 10 different varieties. The one that is new to market is the Beale Street. That's a really cool red one. And I'm going to show you a picture so you can see. The first picture I'm showing you is going to be kind of the grower version of it. And what's really great, the next picture here, that is the photo of what the test gardens had, their performance there, and you can see it's not too far off, and depending on what time of the season that was taken, it's a pretty good indicator that this is a really good performer. This one is going to be really good at kind of keeping its mounded shape, and it branches really well. Sometimes with the Kong, there was a little bit more breakage on the branches. This one, it's less likely to do that. There is always some risk with COLEUS of that happening, but also, COLEUS, a lot of times people will cut back, say, mid-July or sometime like that, or trim it back, and then it fills in even more. But these kind of varieties with COLEUS, the great thing about them is that they're late to bloom. And the later a COLEUS blooms, the longer it's going to last. Because once it produces its seed, it kind of just starts getting lazy and doesn't do a lot of action for its leaves and that type of thing. So it starts to droop a little. When you're getting these varieties that seed late, and some of them in our regions aren't even going to go to seed because we're going to get frost before they even can go to seed. So they are going to look good right up until frost. So that's really good. We're excited about this new lineup. We tried to get some of the varieties that would look similar to the Kong versions that we had, but then we also tried some other ones that are just completely different. So you're going to have a lot to choose from there, but also we added a couple of the ColorBlaze series from proven winners. So the brand new one is the Brighto. That one, I mean, there's just no other COLEUS like it. It gets pretty darn big. That this is one of the biggest COLEUSes. In fact, all the ColorBlaze ones are very large. But you can keep them kind of in check by trimming them back every now and then if you needed to kind of tame them a little bit. But you're going to want to give them a good amount of room. Great thing about COLEUS, I'm going to recommend people start planting those in the landscape as well, because these can take sun or shade, so you can put them anywhere, and they just become a shrub, really, and with a lot of colors. So consider those. A lot of people only do them in pots, but you don't have to. Put them, you know, under the trees, put them out in the hot sun. They don't lose their color anymore. They don't burn out. The only thing with COLEUS in the sun is that sometimes they do need a little more water, so you're going to want to make sure that it gets a decent amount of water. The other ColorBlaze variety that is brand new this year, let's see, was it? Yeah, Pineapple Brandy. And it has this really cool limey leaf with a little bit of a rim that's kind of red. And it's partnered with Cherry Brandy. And Cherry Brandy has been around a little while, but we're bringing both of those onto our inventory this year. They're basically mirrors of each other. So if you plant those two together, they're going to be the same size. And you can see in the photo, now that's an example of a huge, like untrimmed, really healthy version. I would expect that to be, you know, mine to be a little smaller than that, but that's how big they can get. So that's the max size, but you can see they're, I mean, they're as big as like a person, definitely. And so expect yours to be maybe, you know, 3/4 that size or half that size, depending on how much root room and how much you feed it and that type of thing. So really excellent lineup. Proven Winners is really known for those COLEUSes, and we're really happy to bring those 3 varieties on. We're going to give them a try. Maybe we'll be bringing on more next year if they do well for us. So what do I have next? Oh, we have some novelty COLEUS as well that are just really cool. These are on the smaller side. The first one is going to be called Monkey Puzzle. And just look at how the leaves are so different on that coleus. It just has this kind of fireworks effect. It looks like a sparkler or some kind of string explosion going on. And that one stays a little bit more compact. It's still a decent size though. Like if you put it in a container, it's going to look really good in a container. When we say microcoleus, we don't mean like little succulent size. We mean they're going to be more of just a mound, like more of your regular plants, whereas these other coleuses get, you know, as big as your chest. So, you know, that's kind of how those work. So we're really excited about that one. It's just a really unusual looking one. I think it's going to be kind of an entertainer and conversation piece in the garden. And then the other one is called Le Freak. And Le Freak is kind of like the Spitfire, but it's kind of the grown-up version. Gets a little bit bigger leaves, and you can see it's just one of those, it's really durable, kind of can handle a little bit of wind. It flops around. It's got this, you know, can take sun or shade. It's just a really, really cool variety of coleus, completely different kind of leaf than the other ones as well, different growth habit. It looks good in hanging baskets and containers. You can put it kind of along the front of your flower beds as well, so it does well in the ground too. So really versatile, really beautiful. So coleus, I think people are really starting to discover coleus. There's not really much for flowers on a coleus, and if they do, it's not necessarily a good thing because they're pretty insignificant, and that also means that once they flower, they're kind of starting to go downhill. So it's all about the leaves on coleus. We are carrying one new dahlia, and that is part of the extra large or extra large series that we've been carrying for years. And we carry that variety. There's so many different kinds of dahlias, but dahlias, growing them in a greenhouse, you kind of have to dedicate a certain space to them and keep a really close eye on them and watch the humidity and that type of thing. So we just stick to one because it's easier for us to grow those. But there are so many beautiful dahlias, but the extra large variety has been so beautiful and so good for us, a really good performer, lots of flowers on them. The new variety is kind of a peachy color, really beautiful flower on that. And if it performs as well as the other extra larges, it's going to be a real beautiful addition to the garden. And it's just a really nice change up from a lot of the pinks and the reds that they tend to have. So we love that one. We're excited about that. Next, I'm going to tell you about an evolvulus. I think I'm saying that right. It is called the Blew My Mind lineup. Now, we've carried that for a while. It's one that really doesn't like a lot of water, and it also tends to get going pretty late because it likes really warmer weather. So we don't ever get to see it in the greenhouse looking the way it's supposed to. And a lot of people who plant it out just say it's beautiful. It really does have great foliage, and it has kind of true cornflower blue flowers, which is unusual, especially in annuals. You just don't see a lot of blue. So we're excited about that. Well, this year they've introduced the extra large version of that, which is really good for us in northern climates because that bigger growth earlier is going to mean we're going to have bigger plants. So you're going to get a more showy plant sooner than you would have with the old variety. So we're carrying the extra large and giving that a go. We're just really happy that they've adjusted it that way because it does benefit us, whereas farther south, they're more concerned about it just getting bigger. We're more concerned about it getting bigger earlier. So it's a good addition. If you haven't had a helianthus in your garden, you're in for a real treat. Now, helianthus is actually a sunflower, and the variety that I'm going to tell you about is specifically a branching, reblooming sunflower. So whereas your regular sunflower send up one stalk, one flower, and then it's done, this is a rebloomer, and once it starts blooming, it's nonstop. We've carried the Suncredible regular one, the yellow one. It's all yellow. We've carried that for years, and it is so nice. It's a big plant though. You got to be ready for it. Does like a good amount of water. The new variety has a bit of an orange halo in the center. It's really nice looking, and based on the performance in gardens, Proven Winners is saying that it's slightly more compact than the original, but based on what I've seen in the trial gardens, it is just as big and just as prominent as the other ones. You can use that one in a hedge, or if you have large pots, you can put it in there, and it really does just keep blooming and blooming, and the color is really good on those sunflowers. So the helianthus, this one's called Saturn. The other one is just your Suncredible helianthus. So definitely give those a try if you want something that's big and dramatic. When it comes to IPOMOEA, however you want to say it, that's the sweet potato vine. And we have a new variety this year, and I want to get the name exactly right. It is Sweet Caroline Medusa, or I think it's Sweet Caroline lime green Medusa or something like that. This is very unusual. Number one, it has a very different leaf. It has a very lobed leaf with really deep kind of fingers, or whatever I'm going to say, and it doesn't trail quite as far as some of the others. So a lot of the other sweet potato vines, I mean, they get 3 feet, 6 feet, who knows how, you know, they can just keep going and going and going. This one actually is more bushy, and it stays, you know, really good for containers. A lot of people are saying, hey, if you have a sunny spot that you just can't do a Boston fern in because Boston fern can't take that hot sun, put one of these in because it has that same kind of shape, really beautiful plant. It's just fantastic. So it's kind of a favorite now. And you can also put it in the landscape as well. A lot of people are putting it along borders. It's just a unique texture in the garden, in pots, in containers, really one you probably should look at. We're also introducing Red Hawk to our lineup, which has kind of a similar leaf. It is more of a trailing one. It's been around for a while, but it's new for us. So I just wanted to, since I'm talking about sweet potato vines, that Red Hawk is a really nice red color as well. Now for the Lanai verbenas. We've been carrying Lanai for a number of years, and they've introduced some new colors. And the ones that we're really excited about, Green Apple, which is kind of a lime colored verbena, really cool color. It's going to be one of those plants that's going to just do really well because it's going to mix well and contrast well with a lot of the flowers that you can put it with. And the verbenas tend to trail and mound, but they are more of a trailer. So you're going to notice them and how they kind of work their way in through hanging baskets and through other plants. So it's a nice addition. The other one is going to be the Twister Hot Lips. Now we've carried 3 colors of the twisters. We've had the purple, the pink, and the red. The purple and the pink, you can see in the picture, are very similar in the photograph, but when you get them in person too, there's such a subtle difference. People couldn't even tell the difference, but the new Hot Lips one is really different. So we've taken out the pink, so we're doing Hot Lips and the red, and we're really excited about that. We've got 2 new colors of ivy geranium. We do the Great Balls of Fire geraniums, ivy geraniums. Those are the kind that they just get really quite large. They kind of trail down. They're beautiful. We have a melon coming, and the other color is dark red. So those are 2 new additions in addition to some of the other ones that we have. Hopefully we get those. We had some trouble with some of the varieties not being available. I'm not sure why, but hopefully we get both those as well as all the other ones that we ordered, because those are really a different kind of geranium. They look great, especially in hanging baskets, because they do have that trailing qualities. Next up, I want to talk about petunias, and we've got some really cool varieties. We're introducing the lineup of the Durabloom petunias. Now, this is a completely new variety of petunia out there, but its claim to fame is that it is even more durable than the other varieties that are out there. And like your Supertunias and Surfinias, those tend to be really durable when it comes to rain and wind, but these are supposed to be even more durable. Lots of flowers on them, and we're carrying 4 of the brand new colors that are introduced this year. And then we're also having a whole lineup of the ones that they had introduced last year and I think the year before. This hasn't been around a whole long time, so we're excited to introduce that. You can see in one of the pictures, there's a lot of the pink purple gradient colors. So if you look at that, you can see there's the purple, the electric lilac, and I think hot pink in there. And you can see there's subtle differences in the colors. So we're kind of excited to be able to kind of see the differences on those and get a good look at them. So brand new variety, really looking forward to that. When it comes to new colors, one of the ones people are really looking forward to is the Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. Now, most people are familiar with the Supertunia Vista bubblegum. That's that pink one that you see all over the place. And the Vista series of Supertunia are the extra large plants. They really get huge. The big blankets, big giant pillows. This new one, Jazzberry, is in that same family, gets almost as big as the bubblegum. They say it's a little bit more compact, more flowers, which I don't even know how you get more flowers on a Supertunia. So this is one that we're really keeping an eye on. We're really looking forward to it. All the test gardens, it did really great. And you can see in one of the pictures, a case where they had planted them just slightly farther apart. And that's kind of another thing that people are starting to do with their petunias. For a while, it was all about getting a continuous cloud. So they plant them a little closer, and then it looks like it's all one big plant. Now a lot of people are starting to group them with a little distance between them, so they look like little mounds. So you have almost like a caterpillar effect. So you have these clusters of the different petunias in there. So something to think about if you're planting them out, if you want to try something a little different and get a little bit different look, and you can spread them out so you don't need as many plants. The next one I want to talk to you about is the SuperCal Premium Sunset Orange. Now this is actually a PETCHOA, which is a cross between a petunia and a CALIBRACHOA, but when you look at it, you you're basically going to think it's a petunia because the flowers are petunia size. The plants get kind of similar to a petunia. They don't maybe get quite as big as the Vistas or even the regular Supertunias, but they do get quite large. Last year, we planted a SuperCal Premium in with a Wave and a Supertunia Vista, the Supertunia Vista Fuchsia, yep, and it kept up with them just great. So I'm not too worried about this being a smaller petunia because it can really handle it. All three of them did great. But what I loved about this one is that when we got to the end of the season, let's say August, September, these were still sending up more flowers than any of the other plants, probably twice as many. And all the other ones were doing pretty good, but this one was really doing, sending up more flowers, had a little bit more color than the other ones. So this is one definitely to consider. There are some really astounding new varieties of yellow. Now, last year we introduced the Yellowstone variety. Really a nice petunia, great color on it. We're bringing that back. But this year, we're also going to have Bee's Knees. And Bee's Knees is a really nice kind of buttery one. They're basically telling us it's going to flower all season, looks really good. I've seen the trial gardens and it is a really good performer. I mean, we're talking lots of flowers on it, gets a good size as well, which is nice. So it's good for containers, good for, whatever use you're using. The other variety is called, what do we call it? It's called Hello Yellow. It's a bright yellow and their big claim to fame is that it's yellow from the center right to the edge. And it is smaller than the Bee's Knees, so it's a more compact variety, but definitely if you want a real sunshine yellow, Hello Yellow is the way to go on that. And there is a new CALIBRACHOA, which they look like petunias, but they're tiny, a different variety, but they are very similar. There is the new Cabaret Lemon Yellow that we're gonna have. So since I'm talking about yellow, I just thought I'd throw that in. So that is a new variety, but it's not a petunia, it's CALIBRACHOA. And the last one I'm gonna tell you about is an orange petunia. Now, orange petunias are back. Back in 2017, most of the true orange varieties, the really bright oranges, they were all banned because it was kind of uncovered that they had been developed through GMO, genetically modified means. And when you have a plant that's genetically modified, you can't really sell it to the public without going through really serious, vigorous testing and observation. So they needed to go take them off the shelves and really study them and then get them certified for that. Because when they're genetically modified, they have this advantage over some of the hybridized versions, other versions out there, and they don't want them to become, this kind of invasive species or have any kind of negative effects because they have that unfair advantage. And it ends up, they didn't have any issues with it at all. The plants were fine, but they have now gone through their testing and we're going to start seeing more and more of these orange petunias out. And the first one that we're bringing back, let me just see, it is called Hell's Heat. We carried a version of it way back. This is kind of the improved version, a lot more flowers, really good growth on it. We're looking forward to seeing how this one does, and we're really happy to see these orange petunias coming back. So definitely try this one if you're into orange. This one, they describe the color as neon orange, and what we had before was a really great bright orange. And also with this approval of these genetically modified petunias that are safe, we're going to probably see some really vibrant purples and reds as well, because that same gene can give us new colors in those varieties as well. So those are down the pike. Those aren't on the market quite yet. So we'll be keeping an eye on those over the next couple of years to see what they come up with. So, hey, this has been really a lot of fun. I hope you're looking forward to all these new varieties. It really is kind of mind-blowing how many there are. And as I said, there's other varieties that we're bringing in that we've never carried before that we're super excited about too. So this is quite an adventure. We have our catalog. Hopefully it'll be coming out in the next month or so. We had to wait until we got all our confirmations before we could send that to the printer, but we're looking forward to getting that out. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe on YouTube to find out when that'll be available. Our online store is scheduled to open April 1st, and that's where we'll be taking pre-orders, and then we hold your plants until, I think it's going to be May 20th, and then they all have to be picked up by that date and you have to take them home. And then we open to the public on May 2nd, I think. So I promise, on May 2nd, we're gonna have a lot of plants. So if you don't pre-order, you'll be okay. But if there are specific varieties that you really want, especially some of these new ones, I'd recommend you look into pre-ordering them and let us take care of them until you're ready to take them home. So thanks for watching, everybody. And it's been a lot of fun. So we'll see you very soon. Hopefully we'll get some more videos up with more of the other varieties that we're bringing on. And once we start getting our plants kind of into their pots. We'll be making sure to give you some updates from the greenhouse as well, when it's going to be nice and sunny. And inside the greenhouse, it'll be warm no matter how cold it is outside. So we're looking forward to it. Talk to you all very soon.